Here's what I think is the easiest of the many ways that you can get raw, analyzable data out of the U.S. Census Bureau's website at data.census.gov. I'm going to start with the what we call the code book. This is a listing of all the variables in the census data set that we'll be looking at, the American Community Survey. The most recent complete data set available is 2019. There's a tab there for 2020, but that data set was a little bit questionable due to some COVID-19 interferences with the collection of the data. So we're going to steer clear of that one for now and stick with the 2019 data. If you scroll down a little bit further, you'll see that there are code books for a number of different kinds of tables of results, detail tables, subject tables, data profiles, comparison profiles, and the selected population profiles. These are all different reports, if you will, that the Census Bureau uses to organize and disseminate its data. For this particular investigation, we're looking at data about a rent, median rent, county level median rent, and the most direct route to that one happens to be in these detail tables. This is basically you get one small table per variable, or maybe per 3 or 5 variables. It's these subject tables and data profile tables tend to be a whole lot more complicated, so we're going to avoid those for now. But click on the HTML version of the code book for the detailed tables, and that's going to bring up a page that looks like this. This is a listing of all of the available, it's kind of a big listing, of all of the available variables in the American Community Survey from the U.S. Census Bureau. And you could scroll down through here and just kind of browse to see what's there, but if you know what you're after, the easiest thing to do is just to search the page for whatever term you're looking for. So I just hit edit find in my browser. Your browser may have a different way to get to the find function, but all browsers have that function in one way or another. And I'll just type in what I'm after here, which is, let's say, gross rent. Gross meaning total rent, and it just happens to be the first item that pops up. You can see there's actually a number of things about gross rent. You have gross rent broken down by the number of bedrooms in the rental unit, for example. But the very first one there is estimate the median gross rent total. That's what we want. The median would be the middle value out of all the values in a given county. And the total part means this is the values for all rental units in the county, not just the one-bedroom rent units or the two-bedroom units or something like that. So that's the one we want. And all you need is this variable name right here, this B25031 underbar 001E. The B25031, that's the name of the table that this variable appears in. You'll see this in just a moment. The stuff that comes after the underbar, the 001E, that's the name of the particular variable that we're after. But this will get us in the neighborhood of what we want. I'm just going to copy that to the clipboard in the browser, and then switch over to the actual American Community Survey data page, which is data.census.gov. There's a link to this in the D2L page. And I'm going to choose Advanced Search from the menu right here. And then paste that variable code right here. Okay, that's the variable that I'm looking for. And the only other thing I really need to tell the Census Bureau is what geography level I want. So if I click geography here, these are all the different kinds of areas that you can search data for. You can search the entire nation. You can get state level data here. Place level data, that's basically cities and city-like areas. You can get something like a zip code right here, metropolitan areas. Tract level is probably tract block and block group are the most detailed levels. Tract is about as low as I would go because the error margins for blocks and block group areas get even bigger than they are at the tract level. But in this particular analysis, we're after the county level data. So let's specify county as the geographic level we want. And then once you click that, you have to specify, you can pick all counties in the entire U.S. if you want. That would be a pretty huge data set. we're going to narrow this analysis down to just the counties in Tennessee. And I could scroll down through here and pick just the counties that I want, but for this exercise, I'm just going to go ahead and get all the counties within Tennessee. And then this is really all you need. And click search, and this is the table we're after. There's only one of them, which is kind of handy. Well, actually, there are 10. There's one for each of the most recent 10 years. But it is one table, the B25031 table in the Census Bureau. And since 2019 is what we're after, we really have two choices. We could get the 2019 ACS 1-year estimate, or we could get the 2019 ACS 5-year estimate. Here's the difference between these two. The 5-year estimate is going to have data for every county in Tennessee, regardless of the county size. But because some counties in Tennessee don't have that many people living in them, it takes 5 years to gather enough data to be able to draw accurate estimates about those smaller counties. So that's where the 5-year part comes from. When you download one of those 5-year data sets, you get a number that represents pretty much what the typical level was of whatever the Census Bureau is measuring for that variable for the last 5 years. If you want the most recent data, which is what we're going to do here, let's go for the 1-year estimates. Now, the trade-off is that the 1-year estimates are more recent. These reflect the situation on the ground in these counties in Tennessee during 2019. However, there are data available only for the larger counties in Tennessee. And you'll see in a minute that there's a subset of the state's counties in this data set. Also, the 1-year estimates tend to be a little less accurate in the sense that they have wider error margins because there are fewer cases to infer data from. But they're still very accurate, especially at the county level, and you'll see that in a moment. So let's click on the 2019 ACS 1-year link right here, and you get a pretty basic table. It scrolls all the way out here to the right because there's a column, an up and down column, two actually, the estimate and error margin for every one of the counties being looked at here. But there aren't that many rows. You see, there's one row for the total rent. That's the estimated median gross rent for Anderson County in this case, and then there's estimated median rents for each of the different sizes of apartments. And if you scroll to the right, you'll find Rutherford County out here toward the end. Let's see, there's the S's. There we are. Rutherford County, there. So the median gross rent in Rutherford County for 2019 was estimated to be $1,147 a month. All right. If you want to see what counties we're actually looking at here, you could, I think this is available. Let's see. Oh, there it is. Under More Tools, there's Map, and you can get a map of this thing. Those are the counties that we're dealing with. You can see that a number of the counties in Tennessee are simply blank. All of these grayed out counties here, because those counties aren't large enough to have made it into the ACS 1-year data. But right here in the Nashville-Rutherford County area, we have quite a number of counties that we can get data for. That's Davidson right there. That's where Nashville is. And then down here is Rutherford. That's where we are. If you click on these things, the name will actually pop up. And we've got pretty much all of the contiguous counties to Davidson except for this one over here. That's Cheatham County, which the population just is large enough to make it into this data set. Had we picked the 5-year data, all of these counties in Tennessee would be colored and would have data available for them. All right, so and this little key over here, by the way, kind of gives you a hint as to what the rent situation looks like. The darker the color of the county, the higher the median rent is, and you can see that the largest rents in Tennessee tend to be right here in the Nashville area, in Davidson, Williamson, and Rutherford. But that's just to kind of show you where we're going on, or where we are. What we're really after here is the data file. Let me switch back to the table view right here in the full table. There we go. Now we're back to where we landed in the first place. As handy and easy as this is to scroll through and find the median rent for whatever county you're looking at, this isn't a form that is easy to do anything with, to get into a spreadsheet and analyze. In order to do that, you're going to have to download this a data file into a format that is importable into Google Sheets, which is the spreadsheet program that we'll be using. And that's fortunately a really easy process. You just need to look for this download tables link right here. Click that. And when I do, this little box pops up next to the tab for the table that I'm looking at over here. And I can just check that and then choose download selected right here. So it's downloading the tables that I've selected. On more complicated searches, there will be more options down here, different tables. You could download 2 or 3 or more at a time if you wanted to. But here we have only one, so I'm just going to download the selected table. And I can specify what years I want the data for. I'm interested in just the 2019 data for this analysis. And I'm also interested in just the 1-year estimates, not the 5-year estimates. So everything else is fine. I want the CSV, that stands for comma separated value or comma separated variable. That's a format, kind of a base level data format that a spreadsheet can easily import, whether using Excel or Google Sheets or something else. So that's all set up. I'm just going to click download. And the Census Bureau, sometimes this process hangs up depending on how busy the Census Bureau API is, but in this case, it got it for me pretty quickly. It's 100% downloaded, and I just have to check download now. And there's the file. My computer's saying, okay, I got the file. What do you want me to do with it? I'm going to go ahead and put this just on my desktop right here, and click Save. There we go. And there's the file over there. Now, this next part of actually opening the file will vary from one computer to another. It depends on what kind of computer you're using, whether it's a PC or Mac, and what web browser you're using. But basically, this file has come to us in a zip format, .zip. That's a compressed file format that the Census Bureau and a lot of online data sources use just to make files smaller when you download them. Most computers will open one of these zip files by default and let you extract what's inside of it, but the process does vary a little bit. Here's what the process looks like on my computer. I'm going to minimize my browser here, and sure enough, there's the data file that I just downloaded. All right, I can click on it, double click on it actually, and the default program for handling zip files on my computer is going to open up, 7-zip. And there's 3 files inside this zip file. If I'm going to do anything with these files, I need to get them out of the zip file because the spreadsheet program can't read them while they're still compressed. The one you want is the one that has the phrase data with overlays in its title. That just means it's going to have the variable names at the tops of the columns. You can ignore these other 2. But go with data with overlays, and I can just click it and drag it out to the desktop and turn it loose, and there it is. And then I can close this out. So this is the file that I want to import. I can even rename it if I want to. Let's see, I'll call this rent data. How about that? There we go. That's a little bit easier than the default census name. Okay, so in the next video, I'll show you how to pull this rent data into Google Sheets and start doing something with it.